DDG episode 264. My name is Dave, and I'm joined by Michael.
Dave, how's it going? Everything's on fire.
On your
But
if on your
like,
end,
how's it
I'm
going?
just sitting here playing a mobile game,
I
waiting for you to.
switching to Mac is the worst thing to happen to me, technology wise, in a very long time. I'm still getting used to it. I hate it. Everything's broken, but we're here, and I opened my soda. There you go.
Sounds
I'm
like a
ready.
user error. So
100%, 100%. I don't want to use a Mac, but here I am.
All right, so we are Digital Days Gaming. We are a podcast that posts about every other week. You can watch us on twitch.tv/Digital Days Gaming, or you can watch us on youtube.com/. Slash Digital Days Gaming. And
There we go.
yeah,
Dave just spaced out for a second.
well, no, I've got audio technician telling me that I'm like my volume is low or something. So, and she's like saying that we're quiet in general. So, let me see what I can do here. I don't want it to peak or spike or anything like that, but we'll have to just deal with that. And I just turned you down, so I'm gonna do some live adjusting while we're recording. So everybody's gonna have to bear with me for a second or two. All right. So like I said, you can watch us on Twitch, twitch.tv/Digital Days Gaming, youtube.com/Digital Days Gaming. You can go to digitaldaysgaming.com and subscribe to the podcast feed, however you listen to the podcast. You can join our Discord server and hang out with some people and talk about some stuff when there's actually good stuff to talk about.
Even when there's bad stuff, Dave.
Yeah,
When everything was going bad for PlayStation,
yeah.
Discord was popping.
Yeah, so social media in general following right now is kind of weird. I'm waiting for somebody to make something that's going to be like the I heard MySpace might come back, so maybe we'll just try to get in front of that. So
Yeah, that's not going to backfire on anybody.
I just could be anything in general. There'll be something new that will be like, what is this thing? And then we're like, oh, we missed again. So hopefully we don't miss. But if you listen to the show in any way, shape, or form, please, always send us feedback, send us questions, review us if possible, tell a friend, tell somebody, so we can get some new people and grow the community, and hopefully like something decent comes out that people want to play that's actually fun. Like, I don't know, I know there's a lot of just mid games out there right now, so it's a really, really, really weird time in gaming. So just in general.
100%.
Yep, and Angela's really bothering me with randomness. All right, so we're gonna kick right into the news.
Yeah. All right. So we're catching up on like about 2 weeks of news. A couple of things have happened with the Xbox stuff, with PlayStation stuff. So we're gonna focus on those two. Nintendo's just kind of chilling right now. Nintendo doing some cool things in Europe doesn't affect us, so I don't give a shit. But
they're like, "Hey,
Xbox,
Ocarina of Time." That's all they say, and then they walk away.
yeah, you can replace your Switch 2 batteries in Europe only, and it's like that's cool for them. But for us, we just have PlayStation, Xbox drama, and there's some EA stuff I didn't include in there, but maybe if we have time, we'll talk EA. But the first thing that we're going to talk about is Xbox is getting Bethesda in order. So last week, Xbox had Bethesda put out a full roadmap of what they're planning to do with Fallout. This sounds like this is Fallout from Xbox, basically Asha Sharma going to Bethesda and being like, what the fuck are you guys doing? And then we got this roadmap because of that. So the roadmap goes as follows. Bethesda is in full production on Elder Scrolls 6 finally. Like actually full production. Because of that, they are in pre-production for Fallout 5. There will be Fallout 76 expansion that is going to be a prequel to Fallout 3. We are getting a Fallout 3 and New Vegas remaster that is currently in development. We're going to get both of those as separate, games. I would assume so. But we are getting full remasters of 3 and of New Vegas. And they are going to, this is probably the biggest part of it outside of, hey, Fallout 5 is in pre-production. They are going to let Obsidian do a Fallout game. So they're going to be partnering with Obsidian, and Obsidian is going to work with Bethesda Softworks on a new Fallout project. This is really big because Obsidian is the makers of New Vegas, which has had a real resurgence even before the TV show season 2 did New Vegas, of people just going back to New Vegas and considering that the best Fallout game of the series. Uh, they also, about a year or two ago, hired the original creators of the Fallout franchise to their studio. So this is like a perfect moment for them to return to Fallout because they have like the original OG creators potentially tagging on this game that's going to be made. And it's also a big step because Todd Howard and Bethesda have been very protective of this since New Vegas kind of outshined them, 10 years ago in terms of just like letting another studio actually work on a proper Fallout game. Uh, Again, it sounds like this was a big thing. Asha Sharma has kind of looked at the franchises that Xbox has and just finally said, like, what the fuck is going on with, like, we're 2 seasons into a hit TV show and we have no game to capitalize on that. And it just sounds like they finally just were like, we're just going to just go full force and start making games and, like, hopefully not taking forever to develop stuff. Dave, I know you're not the biggest Fallout fan. You did
Yeah.
like the TV show, though. If I remember.
I gotta dig into it a little bit more. Angela didn't like it, so I
Yeah.
stopped watching it. So, but
Okay.
when she starts going back to school and I have stuff that I need, or she goes back to school / work, I'll have stuff that I'll have time to watch, and I need to dig back into that. I also think that Asha is doing the non-gamer part of this. Excuse me for a second. She's gonna she's doing the part that I guess some people were worried about. Like she's like, oh, like how can somebody that doesn't know gaming, talk about, or make business decisions on gaming? But she's using the reality or what she's hearing, or maybe wrongfully paying too much attention to social media, but there's still some validity. So what's on social media? Where, to your point, she's like, okay, like TV and TV influence video games influences TV, it's media, and to, like you were saying, like, hey, we've got something that people are waiting for or is streamed a whole bunch, and you guys are kind of just like what appears to be like sitting on it. So like, what are we doing? So I think that's super interesting. A lot of people are like, why do they keep talking? Why do they keep talking? Why do they keep talking? There's two sides of this coin, and I mean I could be wrong. But I don't really think I am. So looking at the Sony side of it, from the entire Sony corporation side, for years we've heard about PlayStation being the most successful branch of the Sony corporation, correct?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it still is. Yep.
And it still is the most successful branch. So if anybody's going to be able to swing and miss, sometimes close studios, cancel games, it's going to be your breadwinner. You're going to look away and be like, okay, well, yeah, we had the Concord debacle, but look how many consoles we sold. Look at how much of this we sold. And then the reverse of the coin now is you're looking at Microsoft. And again, I don't know the exact data, but I would almost probably say that Xbox gaming, or whatever you want to call it, the Xbox branch of this Microsoft mega corporation, is probably below average, if not near the bottom of their sub companies arms.
Xbox, this week it was announced, or in a financial report, that Xbox had its worst financial year of all time.
So now you have board members that you have to answer to, and she's taking over a role. Contrary to popular belief, as many times as we've been talking about Asha Sharma, she's only been in role like 130 days. Like it's not even.
She's still
She's just finished her first 100 days at Xbox. Microsoft just finished their fiscal year. They have to, as a publicly traded company and a top 5 company in the world, they have to talk about what they're going to do. They don't need to talk about Windows. They don't need to talk about Adobe or whatever it is. That's successful. That's doing what it's supposed to be doing. This is not doing what it's supposed to be doing. This is what the board members are asking about. She has to produce answers. And in order for her to produce answers, these other sub companies within Xbox, i.e. Bethesda, have to give her answers.
Well, especially like if you're a board member, you're like, oh, what is our gaming division doing compared to our competition?
Right.
And then they'll go to her and be like, how many tens of billions of dollars did you produce? And then she's like, none.
Right.
Then they're like, why are we doing this?
Yeah.
I think it was before they said like it was the worst fiscal year that Xbox has ever had. There was a report that their return on investment was on Xbox was 3%, which is awful.
Right.
Because like they could put that money in a bank account and get more interest.
Now,
and
don't
profit
get it
off
twisted.
interest.
The acquisitions are done; those are gone. Like those aren't like I'm sure there's still some bills to be paid, but they're not classified as return on investment. You're just talking about July of 2025 or I'm sorry, August of 2025 to July of 2026, or June to
Yeah,
you know,
operating costs.
yeah,
Yeah.
so the 365-day budget. Like, so this is why Phil Spencer's not in role anymore. This is why she's in role. Is she the right person? I don't know. We're only 120 days in. When I change stores, it takes like 6 months for me to even feel like I have any traction, minimally. So,
Yeah.
and
Well,
I'm not
they
running. I'm
honestly-
not running a multi-billion-dollar thing.
Yeah. They honestly needed someone. There's been a lot of reports coming out from the studios that have left that Phil Spencer might have been too cool in
Yeah.
terms of just telling the creatives, take your time. I'll keep writing a check, do whatever you want. And there was no like expectation of, is this going to be marketable? Is this going to be
Yeah.
sellable? And also, do we need to worry about releasing it anytime soon? And that backfired because eventually they had to pay bills, and it just didn't work out. And now you have someone, to your point, that's not a video game person, that probably told all the studios or told researchers like, what are our top 5 franchises that we own? And they're like,
Yeah.
Call of Duty, Elder Scrolls, Fallout. And she's like, okay, what's Fallout doing? It's like, oh, Todd Howard's going to work on that after they do some Starfield stuff, and then after they start Elder Scrolls 6. And then it's just like, what's Starfield? Oh, it's this game that bombed like 2-3 years ago, but we kind of still want to mess with it. Okay.
And then she's like, get me
Elder
on a
Scroll-
plane to Virginia now.
Yeah. No, and then a conversation is like, okay, when was Elder Scrolls 6 announced? 2019. Okay. How that has to be releasing soon, right? It's like they haven't started yet. And it's like, what the fuck are they doing right now? They're still like thinking of ideas for Starfield. And then it took someone to be like, no, we're gonna work on Elder Scrolls and Fallout. Like, what the fuck are we doing?
And
As
then
opposed
she's,
to what
and then
Phil
she's
Spencer.
taking their smaller things, like the remake of New Vegas and Fallout 3, and not smaller in air quotes, like these, like it's smaller than making a Fallout 5. It's smaller than making Elder Scrolls 6. And saying, okay, you did it, great, awesome, fantastic. I saw that. You know, I see the data from 20 years ago that says how well this game did. Kudos, nice job. Pat you on the head. You know, now give it to the other people that give your files to them. This other place that we bought, and let them do their job. Like, you don't. And then Todd Howard's probably like, well, but my baby. And she's like, I don't give a damn.
Yeah. And then the conversation could be like, oh, but my baby. And then she's like, but the creator is on that team. And like, there's like, could be confusion there.
Or she's like, no, but how about your job? Like,
yeah. Like, you should be focused on Elder Scrolls 6. And then they were very clear of like, hey, Fallout 5 is going to be from Bethesda.
Yeah.
Obsidian's just working on a Fallout project. So
which is probably,
promised
I almost want to say it's probably a remake.
for Obsidian?
Yeah.
No. So they're getting a brand new project.
Okay.
So,
but what time
remakes are a
frame do they
different
get?
studio.
So now let's really break this down though, because this is where she probably gets frustrated though. So if Elder Scrolls 6 is in pre-production or production now, what's your time frame now? If it's in production, so maybe it went
For
into
Elder
production
Scrolls
this
6?
This year, right? We're thinking it went into live production this year.
Yeah, either
Maybe
sometime
last
last
year. Maybe.
yeah.
What's your
yeah,
time frame? 5 years?
No, I would probably say they're probably going to be on a rush like 3 to 4 year.
Okay. So you're 2030?
Yeah, 2029 at the earliest.
Okay, so 2029. And then the team that's making Elder Scrolls 6 is going to be the team that then makes Fallout 5, correct?
Yeah, they're big enough that they could have a pre-production team that goes
Cool.
kind of into production.
So when would Fallout 5 go into production?
32.
Into production in 32.
Oh, no. Production, it'll probably go 2028. So you'll
Yeah.
probably do the thing where a year before it's going to push, you move people off.
You would
into
argue
that.
the two major tentpole franchises from Bethesda, major tentpole franchises, are 5 years out.
Yes. Yeah.
And hopefully being band-aided by Fallout 3 and Fallout New Vegas. And I would say at this point in time, Obsidian is going to make a smaller Fallout game. They have to. And that would try to sandwich in there, right? I mean, they don't have to, but can they produce it quickly enough to get it out in 28? 27?
So if
Not 27.
you forget, like Obsidian didn't get hit too bad with the layoffs. They produced in like the last 5 years 2 Outer World games.
But can they do an
3
Outer
or 4
World
expansions?
Right, but can they do an Outer World size game in Fallout?
So I think they can. So there's a rumor that came along with this that basically they had another game already like deep into production that they saw, and they basically told Xbox like, we can easily turn this into a Fallout game, which makes me think that at its core, like the Outer Worlds kind of had the vibes of a Fallout game a little bit. So it probably wouldn't be too hard for them to pivot that game into something Fallout related.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, just in the last couple of years, they produced like Grounded, oh god, started with a P. That one smaller game, and then they were able to produce like Outer Worlds 2. I believe they had like an expansion or two for that game. They did expansion 2 for the other one. So I think they can probably produce something within like 2-3 years. And they famously produced New Vegas within like a year and a half.
Mm-hmm.
So like they do have a history of being able to just produce stuff pretty quickly. And they also had a South Park game at one point a couple years ago as well. Or that's like 9 years ago at this point. So I think as a studio, they could produce maybe a Fallout game in probably like 3 years. Like it's going to be a little bit smaller scope,
Yeah,
potentially,
But
but
that's
like
still
I don't think it's
29.
going to be so drastic.
that's still 2029. Yeah,
The Fallout 3 remaster that people have been dying for, and
Yeah.
then the fact that they said there's a Fallout New Vegas thing. So
If
in this
they can-
announcement,
if
they
can
said
get a franchise, if they can get a Fallout title out every year, 27, 28, 29, 30, and then, or I'm sorry, like 27-ish, 28, 29, maybe 30, and then, or I'm sorry, 30 being Elder Scrolls, and then a year off, and then Fallout 5. Because then you have to
Yeah.
you have to do a year of announcing and trailers and what it's going to be and teases and community building, because like you have to believe that there's going to be a ton of elements from 76 into 5. Like it's going to be like, in terms of, it's going to be a little bit of a service style. I don't think it's going to have seasons. But it's going to have content updates like every 3. Like it just feels like that's the direction that they're going to, because they've kind of done it with the space one. It's totally blanking on the name. Starfield. They've kind of done it with, like it might be another vault that opens or another area of the world that opens. Like I don't think
I honestly think they won't make that mistake, but I can totally see a non-gamer CEO of a company being like, it has to do
But
some
I
sort
do
of
think that they could, like
live service-y thing?
Fallout 5 can be, here's the box and this is everything you get and we're walking away from it.
Yeah, I think it definitely can be a roadmap with expansions in terms of like how, because there's like 4 expansions per Fallout game previously.
Yeah.
So they definitely could do that. So part of this, they did announce that they're not doing a Fallout Day event. They do a yearly event for Fallout. They're not doing it this year, but next year they're going to be doing the event in DC, which is the setting for Fallout 3. So it sounds like we are getting a Fallout 3 remaster next year. And I would imagine the New Vegas remaster would then be the year after that. So we're probably looking at 2027 Fallout 3 remaster, 2028 New Vegas remaster, 2029 Obsidian game, and then there's going to be probably a little two-year lull before we get like
you
Fallout
squeeze
5.
30, 31, you squeeze Elder Scrolls in there, and then 32, 33, you get Fallout 5.
Yeah. So it seems like they do actually have a plan, and it seems like it could be possible that they'll do well. And who knows, if the Obsidian game is a hit and they can produce this, relatively quick, like this could end up being really good for like Microsoft and Xbox.
And we're potentially getting far enough away that they could immediately go from, New Vegas to 4. Like Obsidian could go to 4, and at that point in time you'd be talking about 4 almost 20 years, like since it's been out.
I think they could do something really cool because of the love for like New Vegas and stuff, to where they could do new expansions for New Vegas if they wanted to, or they do 4 and then do like some Obsidian DLC for like a Fallout 4. There's a lot of different things that they could end up doing to kind of just like it's. I hate saying milk the franchise, but I do love this franchise, and it hasn't been milked yet.
It's the show is doing better than the games are doing, and the show brought back to life some of the games. Like 4 was fine. It was kind of like, my understanding, it was, you had a great time playing the thing, but it was kind of broken. And then it took some time, and it did some things, and they did some expansions, and it turned out to be fine for a Fallout game. But now, like I'd have to go look it up, but it had to have come out in 2015, 2016.
Yeah, something
Yeah.
like that. Yeah,
So
it's
like
been a
you're gonna
long
talk
time.
about a 15-year gap. Like this is what we talked about before. Somebody that was 16 years old playing Fallout 4 for the first time. Oh, Fallout 5's out. They're 32. They're 30. Like that's a different person.
Mhm.
Like they could have a wife, they could have kids. Like there's a lot of things that change. And then is the TV show going to continue multiple seasons leading up to this Fallout 5 coming out? I think it might, just based on the success. And then is that going to be enough for somebody to be like, hey, you know what? I really like the last 4 seasons of that show. I'm going to pick this game up. Like that's the part of like,
It,
and you're going to get a new audience. Like,
yeah, it depends in terms of just like Xbox will probably keep it multi-platform. Uh, they'll probably work with Amazon for these Fallout games to do what they did for James Bond,
Yeah.
where when you loaded up Amazon Prime to watch The Boys, you got a big splash page that was like, "Yo, buy James Bond now,"
yeah,
and you can just probably stream the game from whatever TV you're watching.
yeah,
And just immediately start playing. So there's a lot of stuff that they should have already been taking advantage of that's just going to be even better by the time they get there in terms of just like infrastructure and like platforms.
Do you think that these games, as we're talking about, the remakes are a completely different conversation, but as we're talking about Elder Scrolls 6 and we're talking about Fallout 5, are we talking about these games functioning on the Xbox Series and PlayStation 5, or are these going to be strictly next-gen games, do you believe?
When it comes to Elder Scrolls 6 and Fallout 5, Fallout 5 guarantee completely next gen, won't be on current gens.
Mm-hmm.
Depending on what Elder Scrolls 6 does, I do think this generation will probably go to 2029, 2030.
Yeah,
So I can see it being cross gen or whatever the fuck that even looks like.
yeah.
But I think they would be done by the time they hit Fallout 5. We'll
Okay.
get, the remasters, we'll get the Obsidian
Yeah,
game
yeah. Like
on
I said, those are
PS5
different. Like that's different. But in terms of like, do you think that like the production team is working on, a potential Helix dev kit right now? Like they're building the
Oh,
game
100%,
on the
yeah.
Helix dev kit, yeah, or potentially a PS6 dev kit. So
Yeah, I would imagine that stuff is already kind of started unless all the chip shortages is really messed up to where they can't even put like a target down for like what they want the hardware to be.
yeah.
That would be the only thing I think that would be stopping them.
But even
'Cause
then,
they'll-
this would be like that massive brick that sits on a banquet table. Like this is not this might be 7 chips connected together. Of like, oh, this is what the chip's gonna eventually be able to do.
Well, yeah, but the problem is it's like you can't even predict what could be available
Yeah,
in
I
a couple
know.
years like you used to back then, to where they're
No,
like, oh yeah, it's
they're
totally
just
going to be
gonna
this.
take 2 PS4s and duct tape them together, and that's a PS6
Hey,
dev
we're at
kit
the
by
point.
math.
We're going to have to do that because we can't get new shit.
I know.
Like we're gonna have to do the Sega Tower of
Just in
of Power.
the video game world, 2 consoles with the number 4 next to them equals 6, so we're fine.
you use the PSVR breakout box
Yeah.
to connect them, and then you're good. No, but like I guarantee, like PlayStation probably has Naughty Dog working on like some PS6 stuff at this
Yeah.
point. But even then, they're just like, hey, don't go too crazy because like we think it's gonna have 32 gigs of RAM, but
Yeah.
I don't know if we can afford 32 gigs of RAM. in
Pretend like
4
you're
years.
working on the PS5, but on a scale of 1 to 10, go to a 12.
Yeah.
Like,
And just know at any point we can say you have to be down to a 7
Yeah.
because we can't afford to put out a. Because right now the predictions are the next gen consoles are going to be $1,000.
Yeah.
Like no.
well, sure.
no,
Asha
oh,
came out
maybe it'll come
publicly
down.
and said that she's like, I already know the consumers aren't going to pay that. Like she's come out and said
Yeah.
it. So like, what are they going to do? Because she's like, she goes, I'm looking at what we've done the last. She kind of ran Spencer under the bus very respectfully, but she kind of said like,
wasn't even that respectful.
I said kind of respectfully.
Yeah.
She's like, based on what we've shown for the last 5 or 6 years, like she's like, I wouldn't spend $1,000 on a box from us. So,
Yeah.
like, it's
And she said the prices have doubled in
Right.
the last year, and she thinks it's going to double again next year.
yeah,
So even the like right now, I think the last report said like, oh, the PS6 is going to cost maybe like $900, and the Helix will probably be like $1,200. That's going to change come next year, and we're going to be looking at like maybe $1,200 to $1,500 consoles, and that's why I think we're seeing Xbox, go back to that streaming with ads
yeah,
tier that they're experimenting with right now, because even they realize like, fuck, like no one's going to want to buy these consoles,
yeah.
and Microsoft as a company might not want to support making any of this stuff
Yeah.
anyways. So they got to pivot as much as they can.
For sure.
But yeah, I'm hoping we get roadmaps for all the other studios like we did for this, and I imagine that stuff is kind of coming. We'll probably get like a definitive like Call of Duty roadmap in terms of which devs are working on which
Yeah, which
stuff
I
eventually.
think we kind of already had that before they got acquired.
They
For the most
closed
part.
some studios, and
Yeah,
like some studios kind
but
of still exist but aren't
but I
there.
agree. I really think that potentially letting them under the Xbox umbrella still speak freely. Like I thought it was very nice or very cool that it was coming from Bethesda directly, not coming from Microsoft. So hopefully we hear it from Call of Duty directly or whatever. Does Activision even exist?
Kind of
yeah, and or like
in the court of law.
yeah, like I'm kind of waiting for like Blizzard to kind of like be Blizzard again and kind of like do what Blizzard does. So like that part, because going all the way back and listening to some of those Drayson Schreier books and stuff like that years ago, of like let Blizzard be Blizzard, and I feel like that they haven't been able to do that. But give them their their BlizzCon, give the Fallout people their Fallout
HR
Day.
is like
I
HR is
know.
like, do not let Blizzard be Blizzard.
I know,
That is
but I
bad
meant
time
let
for
Blizzard
everybody.
be Blizzard from the gaming standpoint, not from the
Yeah,
other,
yeah, yeah.
of like going on stage and
Cosby
be like,
Suite.
hey, this is what we're doing. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, similarly to, I wish that Sony would kind of like, they're just the reverse of it is everybody's fussing at Xbox for talking. And I think you have it on here, but like Sony's just dead quiet now. They're just like, keep going, keep talking. Like, we're just going to sit over here in the corner.
Sidebar on that, like Alana Pierce, who worked on Sony Santa Monica, basically came out and was like, oh yeah, there's an NDA on every employee not to talk about backwards or to talk about the physical disc stuff.
Yeah.
Like they put a gag order on like every employee.
And I'm just gonna transition to your next story though, but I was disappointed in their choice of like, I think I opened Facebook or Twitter at like 9:00 like on a Sunday night, and it was like, oh, God of War Lafayette release date. I'm like, excuse me.
Yeah.
It just came out of nowhere. I'm like, no way. Like, is this a tease to a state of play? And they're like, nope, here's the date. And I'm like,
yeah. So we'll just talk about that real quick. We're going a little out of order. But yeah, God of War Lafayette was
sorry. I jumped way far.
Release date. Yeah, the release date was announced for February 16th because they did a panel at San Diego Comic-Con. And then they said like, hey, guess what? We're working on a new God of War game. We haven't announced yet, but we're announcing it here, and it's going to be a Kratos-led game. And it's just like no fanfare really. I guess if you're in the panel, there's some fanfare, but like they just were like, yeah, February 16th, we're going a week before Fable comes out. So like, like fuck Fable, I guess. And I guess to make people happy, like they're announcing like, hey, don't worry, we're working on a Kratos game, which I feel like kind of undercuts this game because of the the backlash from like stupid fans not wanting to play this game because it's not Kratos. And so then they had Cory Balrog be like, hey, guess what? We're working on a Kratos game. Not that Corey's working on a Kratos game, but this Sony Santa Monica is working on a Kratos game.
This concerns me too, because now we're starting to like, I feel like they're kind of pulling on Santa Monica in 4 different directions, like they were pulling on Naughty Dog in 4 different directions. Because now you got a team working on Laufey. You have a team working on this Kratos-led game, right? And then you have a team working on the God of War 3 remaster.
Or 1 through 3 remaster.
Yeah.
Like the trilogies being remastered.
So now you're pulling on multiple directions, and it's like, okay, like you can't spread this talent across these 3 games. Like,
if only they didn't close the studio that was working on a God of War live service game that are great at remasters who could have helped them.
Yeah. I mean, unless Ben's gonna be leading the charge on 1, 2, and 3 together, like so.
God,
I didn't realize
anytime Ben
the
is
whole point.
mentioned,
I'm sorry.
Anytime like Ben is mentioned, I'm just like, man, what are they fucking doing?
Yeah.
Like, what is Ben up to? And the answer is like, no one knows, maybe nothing. But PlayStation, we do need to do our big episode that we always talk about, where we go studio by studio of like what's announced, what we think they're working on. Because to your point, like they're looking at Santa Monica and they're just like, can we get Insomniac magic out of this studio? Which is a studio that's never really shown that they could do that outside of like helping with like Fat Princess and like random stuff during the PS3 era.
Because you have to
It's
automatically
a lot to
assume
put.
you have to almost automatically assume that Insomniac. I mean, I don't even remember what the leak said, but Insomniac's going to work on either additional content for Wolverine or Wolverine 2. Like that almost has to be like just in the cards automatically, right?
Yeah, it was another Spider-Man game or potentially a Venom game.
Yeah.
Then it was an X-Men game and then a Wolverine sequel.
Okay.
Is like their plan until 2032
Right.
if things have stayed the same
Yeah.
since the leaks 2 years ago.
So it's just getting, and then we like how.
Oh, and one Ratchet and Clank game
Yeah.
is kind of squeezed in there as well.
Yeah. And then ultimately, I mean, I'm not gonna make this whole thing about it, but how soon till we hear about what Sucker Punch is doing next?
I think they're tapped for the generation.
I agree.
They're
So like then they become their logo goes onto the launch event for PS6. Like it would almost have to.
Yeah, I think that would. They basically launched every. Like they launched the PS4 with Infamous Second Son.
Yeah.
And then they kind of launched PS5 with the Ghost remake. I think that was around launch. But it was a remake of the director's cut of Ghost. So then 6 would be director's cut of Yotei or a new game.
Yeah.
Hopefully it's a new game. I like Yotei, but I just don't need a remaster.
Right.
PlayStation is just kind of like, again, it lost. They're super disappointed right now. The silence is killing them in the other stories we'll talk about with them. But let's go back to Xbox briefly. Xbox also launched the backwards compatibility program again. So if you remember, Dave, a couple years ago, they basically said like, hey, we're going to retire the backwards compatibility program. It was a good run. We got hundreds of games backwards compatible. Out of nowhere, this past week, they're like, hey, guess what? Backwards compatibility is back, and we're releasing 4 OG Xbox games on PC. It's Blinks the Time Sweeper, Conquer Live and Reloaded, Crimson Skies, and Fusion Frenzy. These games are going to come with a bunch of modern features like upped resolutions, VSync, that sort of thing. And they're going to add achievements to these games for the first time. These achievements will be coming to PC as well, but these games are now available to purchase. They're part of Game Pass on PC. They did confirm in some interviews that the backwards compatibility program is open again. They did admit that the reason they shut the program down is because they kind of hit the limits of licensing. Whether it's music or like licensed vehicles or brands. So they kind of ran out of stuff with partners that were like willing to, be made backwards compatible. But they said, times have changed and they're allowed to reopen the program. So they're going back to partners to see what games that they can work with them on making it backwards compatible. And through that, they're going to see if they can get more of these games on PC for the first time. The weird thing with this is in order to get these games backwards compatible or to just get them on PC in general, they released an OG Xbox emulator that is actually inside the Xbox 360 emulator that no one knew they had. And it's basically the emulator that they run on the Series X. So this basically hints that they do have an Xbox 360 PC emulator that they can use at any time. And this is like their test. So basically people have just dug in and were like, oh my God, so this is just a 360 that is running OG Xbox games on my PC, which just kind of opens up like the floodgates over there. And it's pretty cool because people will figure out how to crack this and then just get whatever they want running.
Yeah, they'll probably figure out some crazy
PC.
way to put a damn 360 disc in their PC and it work.
And people are actively working on this now because they're just like, cool. We've never been in a situation where a platform holder has put out an official emulator on PC. A lot of crazy work's being done on, for the PS3 emulator on PC, and not much work was being done on an Xbox emulator or a 360 emulator.
And
Xbox
Microsoft always had it in their back pocket.
Yeah, and now the floodgates are going to just kind of be open, and people are just going to town.
And I think, again, this is pure speculation on my part, but this is probably Asha or her team in a meeting going, instantaneous, easy revenue. How?
Yep.
Like how? And somebody's like, well, we could try this. And she's like, how much is that going to cost? He goes, this much. How much could that make us? That much. Okay,
Yeah.
let's try it. Like,
Yeah, especially for this, it's just like, hey, work's already done.
yeah.
We just need to release it and then get a Microsoft Store image and download button set up
I mean, like, let's be real. Like,
for
'cause
some of the stuff.
none of these games really mean anything to me. I wasn't playing Xbox during this time. Um, if you had a fully functional working PC that you were happy with, a good gaming rig that you were happy with, would you buy any of these?
I would mess with them. So they are ROG compatible.
Yep.
And I feel like that if I had a ROG, I would be like, oh, let me just download these games
Yeah.
because they're
And
relatively
if they're going to be
cheap.
on Game Pass, I'll mess with them. You know, like,
Yeah.
so, you know, but it's just kind of one of those things again where like this is just like a little sprinkle of their program, like of this. You know, I've been hearing a bunch of rumors this week, like little like this last week or so. Just think I haven't been paying too much attention to social media, but like they really think that Helix or whatever this next Xbox is gonna have a freaking disk drive. Because of the position that Sony just took. And the way that Sony took their position, they really can't backpedal from it. They'd look even worse if they backpedal from it. They should backpedal from it, but they would look awful if they backpedal from it. They would look Xbox.
They already told factories.
Yeah. But they would look worse than Xbox backpedaling from DRM 10 years ago or whatever. You know, and so now Microsoft's like, okay, you have fun sliding down that hill. We're going to put our tent in the ground and we're going to put a disk drive on our system. Now, they might not release that much physical media for themselves, but it's still an option. Like, or, oh,
Yeah.
Oops, we put the 360 emulator in the Helix. Go ahead and put your discs in there again. Like
Yeah, no, and the disk drive in the grand scheme of things, it does not cost a lot
Right.
of money in terms of like them saving. So if they just put a disk drive in their system and they're like, it's just for backwards compatibility,
Yep.
that's enough of a win for a lot of people. And
Yep.
the 360, and lucky for them, the 360 was super fucking popular.
Yeah.
So there's plenty of discs out there. Unless, you know, they're only taking Xbox One discs, then they're in
Right.
trouble because they're just
Yep,
no one's
I
buying
know.
those and they didn't produce a lot. But just having a disk drive would be a huge win for them. And then this emulator work, I imagine to your point, you know, they probably had built this emulator for the Helix, but
Yeah.
because the Helix is so close to a PC or is supposed to, they're like, it'll take 2 seconds for us to just get this up and running on Windows 11.
Or I'm really curious about the attach rate that they're seeing. Like people are making fun of the Xbox ROG Ally, but I see a lot of them. Like especially in I mean, like I hear conversations about them. I see people talking about them, learning of them. Like I mean, I've had my ROG for a while. I don't use it justification enough for what I have it for, but when I do have it, I like it. And a lot of people are like kind of like, hey, this isn't bad. Like I can spend $700 or $800 on this. I can play almost all of Xbox's games. I can plug it into my TV. It's a really cool piece of tech. I understand you can do that with the Steam Deck. I know you can do it with a Switch. But the fact that it does have that Xbox name on it is helping. And now they're like, okay, like I'd be curious if they're seeing some revenue growth either on the ROG end or the PC end in general with more people hitting the Microsoft Store with little things like this backwards compatibility. Because they're essentially like, they figured out a way to be like, hey, look what we did. You still got to buy it. Because if you own this game on 360, like, oh, it's backwards compatible. Like, yeah, you can play it on your console if you have it and put the disc in there like you used to. But if you want to play it on PC, you got to buy it. But it's backwards compatible, but you got to buy it. So they've actually learned how to or not learned, but they've gotten really lucky with their messaging on it because people are really positive about this. All they did was re-release some games for money.
Yeah, and they did it as a surprise, and people were like, "Oh, cool!"
Yeah.
And then
I don't even know how much they
Even if
cost,
you-
but at the same time, like $10, $15, $20. I don't know.
I think they're like 10. I think they're like
Yeah.
$10. They're not crazy.
So somebody easily dropped
and-
$50 on 4 games they really enjoyed. Okay.
Yeah, and then them just kind of stealthily just including the Xbox 360 emulator in it
Yep.
means you might have people that don't even have interest in these games, but they want the package on their computer so they can mess
Yeah.
around with it.
Oh,
So you have
I can
people
buy
probably
I can buy access to an emulator for $40. Sign me up. Like,
yeah, you might have instances like that where people are just like, yeah, I just want to mess with this thing, and it's just something to mess with, and you know, will this cause like increase in sales for like a ROG? Probably not in the
No.
grand scheme of things, but the people that have a ROG that might be in that like regret tier
Yeah.
that they aren't using it have another reason to pick it up, so then they'll feel better about like making their purchase. And the ROGs haven't increased in price too much
Nope.
despite everything. So like
I've
this
seen
is a
some
good
sales on
time.
them. I've seen some promotions on them. They don't have like my old one doesn't have as much. I thought my old one had some decent value that I'm like, oh, I can get like 40% of it and put it towards an Xbox Ally. No, like it was like more like 15% of the value. Like I was like, ew. Like when I was looking to
Yeah,
trade
yeah.
it in, I was like, oof.
Yeah, the tech moved way too fast for that
Yeah,
stuff.
yeah,
But before the price, because the prices are going to increase on that, because like Steam Deck has
yeah.
already proven like,
Yep.
hey, we can't keep up
Well,
with it.
the
So
heavy
it's just,
heavy duty the black Xbox ROG Ally is like a $950 to $1,100 now, I think. So
yeah, I just pulled it up on the Asus website. It's 999. So
yeah.
it's just like it's exactly at that price point where it's like teetering on dangerous
I've
for
seen
in
some
terms of
sales
people
on
not
it. I
being
could
interested.
potentially see this thing going down to 750 maybe during the holiday, Black Friday kind of thing, maybe. But
Yeah, maybe depending on what stock ends up
yeah,
being at that time. Because I'm sure if they wanted to do a crazy sale, they would. But right now
yeah.
they're just like still trying to figure out what they want to do. But yeah, that is everything going on at Xbox. Uh, Now let's just talk about PlayStation and their kind of silence and just bad timing in general. So this past weekend was the Marvel Tokon beta. It was popular, but it had to deal with the fact that there was major PSN outages to begin the weekend. So PSN went down so bad that you couldn't even play your digital games because it couldn't authenticate you own the games with the store. So it was complete like PSN down, PSN PlayStation Store down, and also like the whatever connection it makes to like verify your license, that was all down. Horrible, bad timing for PlayStation. 2 weeks after they talk about like their digital future and getting rid of physical media, so it didn't seem like it was an attack or anything either. It just seems like something broke and it just took the service down. A lot of people were bragging about like Xbox, like, oh, look, Xbox isn't having problems. And then Xbox went down even harder. Though Xbox did put actual messaging out to be like, hey, this is what happened. And we need to look at a way to fix this in the future. Basically, like one of the support services went down and this completely killed their network. In the grand scheme of things, the Xbox outage was worse than the PlayStation outage, but PlayStation has just kind of gone super silent on like everything, and it just was a bad look overall. And just Dave mentioned it earlier. There's a big silence from PlayStation right now, and they just really aren't getting too many wins at all. Like they finally like started to tweet again, but it has been so bad that partners were reaching out to PlayStation apparently to be like, hey, PlayStation, please don't tweet about our game. Or PlayStation, please don't post a video that we wanted you to post on your YouTube channel that has like hundreds or like, tens of millions of subscribers because like it's just too negative to be associated with you. And PlayStation has just found themselves just like backed into a corner right now. And you mentioned it earlier, there's no turning back for them. But I wasn't affected by this outage too much because Dave, I was playing my PS3 for quite a lot the last like 2-3 weeks. But the outage seemed like it was a big deal. I don't know if you heard too much about the outage, but it seemed amplified. PSN has gone down several times before, but this
Yeah.
one just seemed to get a little bit more attention because of the timing.
I saw something about it. I feel like I opened the app on my phone and I saw people online. So I'm like, okay, maybe it's not affecting me. Now that might have been just like the app was working or like I don't know. I heard a little bit of rumblings about it. I wasn't playing anything on the network at the time. So I wasn't affected by it. I think we might have been just got back from Chicago. We might have been no, we weren't in Chicago.
You
No.
No, you were in Chicago. Yeah,
Okay.
you would have been. It
Yeah,
was
or
last
on our way
weekend, yeah.
to Chicago. Yeah, because we went
There
on
you
a
go.
Sunday. Yeah, so yeah, it wasn't really affected by it. I saw the rumblings on social media about it, and I was just like, okay, like it just seems like kind of one of those things. Network's down for a little bit, whatever. It happens. I've woken up before my cell phone hasn't worked for a couple hours, like whatever.
Yeah,
It's not great, but I mean, it's just kind of like whatever. But yeah, I mean, it's just kind of one of those things where like you get to the point where Sony's like, well, we can't freaking win right now, like your own fault. So it's just weird, and the way that they went about and the way that they have been going about talking or announcing things for like the last 6 months to 9 months or whatever is just it's all the way back to Jim Ryan leaving. Like it's just was like it's just all that stuff has been just really interesting and really odd how they're doing things, and I think that they're still lacking a face. I don't love Asha Sharma as the the president of Xbox or whatever, but she's out there. She's doing, sure, it's Bloomberg or whoever she's talking to, or CNBC and stuff like that. But she's out there. I haven't seen Herman Holst. I see him copy and paste stuff and release it. I haven't seen him say anything.
He only comes out when he's like firing people.
Yeah. So like they don't have
like
I've said this for a while now. Like PlayStation doesn't have a face, and that kind of sucks for them. Xbox had a face in Spencer, and and I feel like at least for right now, like Asha's like, this is my thing, my ship to turn, so I'm gonna be front and center. I don't think she's gonna be front and center in 18 months. I think that she's gonna kind of like you'll see her a little bit, but she's gonna have somebody that's gonna be more whimsical than her, But it's just weird.
Yeah, well, I think Xbox has the problem where PlayStation's not talking at all, and Xbox in some instances is talking too much.
Agreed.
Because they do have Asha is talking, Booty's talking, and Ball, I think is the newer guy. They're all talking, and they're not always in sync. Right. So every once in a while, one of them contradicts the other, and that's something that they desperately need to work on.
But the reverse of it is you got inconsistent communication, potentially inconsistent communication, where you got no communication.
Yeah. Well, and PlayStation didn't prime anyone to be the voice. Jim Ryan was trying with his like weird like
Fireside
GQ
chats, yeah.
wired like articles and interviews, and that just didn't work because he was a like charisma vacuum.
Yeah.
Like he did just non-existent, and they didn't have anyone else prepped. And like I've met Herman Holst, he's a nice
awesome
guy,
dude.
but he never really he's never really seemed like he's like, I want to be on stage and like I want to do like a whole like presentation stuff.
Andrew House is more entertaining than he is.
yeah, Andrew House was good. I mean, the best is still going to be Jack Tretton.
Yeah.
From back in the day, and Sean Layden. Actually, I've seen more from Sean Layden the last like year or so.
I feel like something expired for him. Like some timetable went away. Yeah.
Same thing with Shu.
Shu,
like something expired with Shu, and he's just going off. It just they didn't have anyone prepped. Like I feel bad for Sid.
Yeah.
Sid
Schumann. Yeah.
Schumann. He's the one that they put his name on
blog posts.
Blog posts, which is wild because it's usually for those big announcements like from PlayStation
or Blooper Team or Santa Monica Team. Yeah.
But they made him put his name on like 3 bad articles in a row.
He's really the only one that I recognize that you sometimes see during a state of play. Like you see him for like 45 seconds or whatever.
And they used to have a bigger team.
This doesn't have to be like, let's be clear. Like this does not have to be some gaming person, like or some gaming name or some Twitch streamer or some YouTube content creator. Like you could, find some 30-year-old, 26-year-old, 35-year-old that has some charisma and some pizzazz and some style that nobody's ever heard of, and he could be like, "Hey, my name is Jim, and I'm the host of PlayStation," and just do something. Like
knowing them, they'll just have an AI.
Yeah, but it's just weird.
Bring back Kevin Butler. Have him come back. The PSP kid, he's probably an adult now. Yeah. So bring him to do something. Yeah, they need something to just give them personality again, because they don't have that. They don't have a spokesperson anymore. And I feel like it's a vicious cycle of what happened to them at the beginning of the PS3, where out of the PS2, they were just cocky and didn't care, and it backfired. They had to be humble, and then they came back. And I remember at the last E3, I had having discussions with people being like, yeah, there's no fire at this team anymore, from like people at PlayStation.
Yeah.
And just being like, damn, I wonder how those people feel now, because they were predicting this towards like 2018, 2019.
Complacency came in,
Yeah, it just it's a mess. PlayStation just seems like they're kind of lost right now, and they're just kind of hoping to ride it out until GTA comes out, because I think they just assume once GTA comes out, that's going to be a fresh slate for pretty much everything.
Mm-hmm.
Like no one's going to care about anything when GTA comes out. It's going to be the biggest game ever. With no
I feel
physical
like
copy.
GTA comes out and you have a reprieve till like post Super Bowl. Post Super Bowl Valentine's Day, and then you hit the ground running, and that's kind of right around when Lao Fei comes out. As is actually like very close to when Lao Fei comes out, like 2 days after the Super Bowl. So like they might be putting themselves in position of like, okay, like we're gonna ride the GTA wave for 90 to 120 days, and then we're gonna stand on our surfboard and we're gonna go, and maybe it starts with Lao Fei. Like I hope, like.
They'll go on a run until like December of next year, when then people are going to be reminded that physical discs are going to end.
Yeah, Wolverine might get him like
that
kind of like standing on the board a little bit, rocking a little bit, But
I guarantee Wolverine, they're like bracing themselves for the review bombing that is probably going to be coming their way. That they're just like,
it's probably going to be the next thing though, because they're not going to send out early copies. Like they like at this point in time, if they had a plan to do it, or it's going to go to very select few like trusted people that they know will keep their mouth shut until the embargo,
or people that they know are going to just say it's amazing no matter what.
It's going to suck too, because I bet you're going to hear some stuff about, I've gotten all the other PlayStation games and I don't get this one because I was critical of their physical disposition. Like
100%. Yeah, they're going to go to the ones that they know will give them good coverage, and they probably went through the list of like, okay, this person's going to give us good coverage, but they also kind of talk shit about us the last month or two.
Yeah. So
no, and it sucks, but that's just kind of how reviewing goes now.
Yeah.
But they did get a little bit of good news. Bad news for us, good news for them. Sarkana's Matt Piscatella. These are the former NPD organization, did put out some numbers about physical games in 2026, and the numbers are not great. Though I would say you have to take all these numbers with a grain of salt, or a lot of salt. So the research firm basically said only 7 games this year have sold over 100,000 physical copies, and only 2 PlayStation video games during a 1-week period sold over 10,000 physical units. This is across all PS5 games that are disc-based. So it's not this PlayStation first party. This is third party as well. So this got a lot of people talking, because compared to previous years, I want to say there was another, I think they went back like 3 or 4 years to where there was like 30 physical games that sold over 100,000 units in the same like 6-month period. And this year there was only 7, and then the physical units is really low as well for the 1 week that they examined. The reason I say you got to kind of take this sort of thing with a like, you have to really look at these numbers and analyze why this could happen. It is a combination of people just aren't buying physical games as much. But Dave, how many good games actually came out this year physically?
Yeah. I'm trying to think of what the 2 games would have been that sold over
college
10K.
Football would have probably like came out already.
Madden,
like,
college football, either one of the, or that's both. Because Call of Duty's not out
Madden's
yet.
August usually, but this is just physical games, not new releases. This is just physical games that have like passed.
Yeah.
So like I would assume this would probably mean like a Call of Duty, maybe a Bond. Like the only platform that's had like consistently good releases this year has been Nintendo, and this obviously doesn't include any Nintendo games. But for PlayStation this year, I just don't know it. Another thing you have to look at is they just said sold over 100,000 copies. So we don't know what that number is. There could be 7 games that sold,
or 121,000.
Or 1.5 million 3 times, and then the other 7 sold barely over 100,000. Like we just don't have those numbers. And then when they said they looked at the week of July 11th, and they're like, oh, only 2 games sold over 10,000 units during that 1 week period. I think the 1 week in July.
Nothing came out.
Nothing fucking came out. Like college football probably sold most of its stuff day 1.
Yeah.
physically, because it's just one of those sports games are now those games that you either get early or you get day one because you don't want to fall behind, your friends.
I totally missed that
Uh,
it came on PC period this year. Now that's what I wanted. I'm like, oh, oops.
yeah, yeah. Like Dave, I literally like went through
Yeah.
the list of games that came out this year, and I'm just like, James Bond, came out this year. College football. That's probably another one. If we're counting games that came out last year that probably still sold 100,000 units, it'd probably be like Call of Duty.
Yeah, but the
Um,
variable also portrays how many, based on their data, based on what's going on, like how many of these games were printed, how many copies of printed games were there? Like,
so one of the games I think is Resident Evil Requiem.
yeah,
That game is so hard to find physical
right.
in stores.
Cool. You sold
Like
105,000. You printed 106,000. Thanks. Like,
yeah, like
or
the
like
numbers are very skewed.
somebody like you, like let's say like you wanted to buy Bond and you waited 2 weeks and you're like, oh, you're hearing good things. Okay, I want to go buy Bond. I want to go buy a physical. You go to Amazon, they don't have it. Okay, oh, they're sold out. Oh, that sucks. You go to Target, they don't have it. You go to Best Buy, they don't have it. You go to you go to like mom and pop game shop, they don't have it. Fuck it, I'll just buy it digital. Like you tried to buy physical. Like I'm not saying that. I'm just using it as
Yeah.
an example. I'm not saying this is what happened, but like oh, we only printed so many copies of it, or like if PlayStation as a company is coming to this decision, right, wrong, or indifferent, if their data is telling them that this is a decision they need to make, I'm sorry, but the retailers were telling them this 2 years ago when they
Yeah.
were getting less and less and less, and we've seen the gaming section shrink smaller and smaller and smaller, or not shrink, but the game section shrink smaller and smaller and smaller. The accessory section get bigger and
Yeah.
bigger and bigger. The toy section get bigger and bigger and bigger. The collectible section get bigger and bigger, and then there's like a shelf of games. Like we've seen that trend for a long time. People don't like to hear it, but everybody's like, "Oh, they took this away from us." Like, "Oh, they took." Like people were sending pictures out about like what the gaming aisles used to look like at the grocery stores or whatever, and I'm like, "No, they didn't take it away from you. When's the last time you went down that aisle? Like, because if you're not going there, like because you're like, I'm not buying those games, like I'm buying them digitally, or I'm only buy, like you are the root cause of this problem." It's like, oh, like you can't put your stake in the ground and say like, oh, look at what they're doing and they're making poor choices. It's the last physical game you bought. Me? I don't know when the last physical game I bought, to be honest with you. I looked over here earlier
Yeah.
to my right, or my right over here. I think I have like 5 PlayStation 4 cases, and I can tell you one thing for sure. I ain't got no PlayStation 5 cases because my PlayStation doesn't have a disc drive. And you've got tons of them. And so you and I are the polar opposite, but we offset each other. Like you and I cancel each other out.
I had to wait.
Yeah.
So we bought James Bond. I had to wait like an extra 10 days
Yeah.
for Amazon to get a copy in stock
Right.
because there just wasn't. And it's
But
Amazon. Amazon's
you're right. You were willing to wait. I'm not.
Yeah.
Like
yeah. And but it's a combination of this like people aren't buying as much physical. But I would also say this kind of comes down to like death of the AA game,
Yep.
where the aisle used to be just filled with AA games. Now, if you go into the aisle, it's not only smaller, but it's like, hey, here are the top 5 AAA games, and then here's like the bottom run like children's games. I went into Target like a month ago. They still had like 3 sections, like the individual like video game displays dedicated to like the Elf on the Shelf and Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer games from like 2-3 years ago, because there just hasn't been anything else
Yeah.
to put in that aisle.
because we're missing Darksiders, Saints Row. Like we're missing those games.
Yeah.
Like those are there's just this massive hole in the industry that we're not getting. Of, hey, is that game worth $60? Yeah, kinda. I enjoyed my 2 weeks with it. I'm good. I had fun.
Those were also the games that would go on sale the most. You
Yep.
wouldn't get a Call of Duty sale.
Nope.
You would get a Ghostbusters. I'm just naming THQ games. 'cause
Yeah,
you
yeah.
did. You would get the Ghostbusters, Darksiders, Saints Row games. You would get the THQ specials.
Yeah, but
Because they're just like, oh man, that game's $10.
You'd be playing Overwatch with your friends, and they would be like, "Hey, I see this Ghostbuster game's on sale." One of your guys in your crew would be like, "Hey, man, I had a great 2 weeks with that game. It's for sure worth $35." Like you go, like
Yeah.
and those games are gone. Like they're just gone.
Yeah, they're either smaller indie games that can't justify getting printed, or they go the limited run route,
Yeah,
or they're just digital because it just doesn't make sense. And Targets and Best Buys, they just don't see the value in like, seeking out. Best Buy tried to partner with limited run games to see if like that would get people interested in buying stuff, because Best Buy had a section of video games that was mostly empty because there just wasn't anything to fill those shelves, and that didn't work out. They don't do that anymore. Ubisoft used to produce tons of different versions of their games, and now it's just like there's like one version of a game, if there's even a physical release of that game. I don't know if Assassin's Creed got a physical release for it, but back in the day, there would be 4 different physical releases
gold
of that
platinum,
one game. Yeah, and that just doesn't really exist anymore. Dave, an EA UFC game came out like a couple weeks ago.
Yeah.
I had no idea that existed.
There is a physical version of Assassin's Creed Black Flag Resynced, and I'm hearing great things about it. Like I'm hearing great things about it.
But I guarantee if I go to Target this weekend, it's probably not going to be there.
Yeah, I mean, I can pick up. I just Googled it really quick, and then I clicked on shopping, and I clicked on it for Best Buy. I can go pick it up at a Best Buy tomorrow.
Okay, so you can pick up that. Yeah,
$60 actually too. $59.99.
Oh, hey, yeah. I would say that's too expensive for a remaster, but it's a good remaster. The price
of games right now, like, okay.
Hey, gotta take a win where you can get it, because that's just kind of where we are now, where it's just like prices are bad, and we're just like, yeah, we gotta take it. But like, we've been talking. I've been
fun
going
fact:
through...
I cannot get an Xbox game. It'll be ready on August 5th from the same Best Buy.
No, exactly, yeah.
Yeah. So.
But like I'm going through like the list of stuff this year, and I don't see many physical games that would have come out on PlayStation that would have done well. And games, like again, Nintendo's had a fantastic year. Pokepia, Star Fox, Splatoon just came out. There's a couple other games that I'm not thinking of right now. But Nintendo's just rolling, but PlayStation just, They made their decision. They're dealing with it. They kind of skewed the numbers in their favor. A lot of stuff's floating around from the Insomniac leak from 2023 that showed that most of their first-party games were still like 40-50% being bought physically. But it just seems like they're just done with it. They don't want to do physical games. They already told the factories that they are not producing discs anymore, and they're just moving forward. And I see people, there's like the petition going around. It's got like 300,000 signatures on it. Sorry, that's not going to do anything. You have, I don't know, Dave, if you saw, but there's going to be a official protest week for PlayStation where they want everyone to like do a PlayStation blockout for a week. But even that is hollow, because the thing said like, we're going to do this week, and we're only going to do it for this week because we don't want to harm or disrupt developers during this week. And it's just like, then you can't protest for just a set amount of time. It needs to be like, we are protesting until it changes, but no one is that serious about it. So it's just, this is the way, this is what's going to happen. PlayStation is going to get rid of physical discs. They're going to get rid of disk drives, and we just have to kind of accept that future. And it's just going to come down to, when it comes to the PS6, is like, do you still want to play games?
Right.
And I think for most people, the answer is going to be like, yeah, potentially. For me, it's like a maybe, just because I went over last week about this. Like, I'm really not interested in how new games have been functioning. So,
right.
Like, we'll see where I'm at, especially if I'm spending $1,200 on a console.
Yeah. Fun fact, I'm still kind of putzing around while you're talking here. There is a deluxe edition of Black Flag Resynced.
In stores?
GameStop has it. Yeah, can't Resync deluxe edition. Yeah.
So they at least have 2 versions. Yeah. I miss the good old fashioned working at Target, and there was like 4 or 5 versions of one game. But GameStop's also hell, because like you try and like, it'll say something's in stock, and then you actually try and check out, and it's like, nah, we're not.
I have a GameStop in my complex where my store is. I still haven't stepped foot in there.
You should from time to time. Can you check out the retro section for me, Dave?
Sure.
I'm desperate.
All right. I think that is it for this week. A little shorter than normal. Not too much shorter, but a little shorter than normal. I will be out of town next week. A couple people asked me. I had a great time in Chicago. Michael stood me up. He just said he didn't have time for me. Mm-hmm. No, he was busy, actually. We were in and out of Chicago like super, super quick. We drove down on a Sunday. We did We did Shed Aquarium on Sunday. We did a little bit of walking around on Monday. We had the ball game Monday night. We did Navy Pier, overrated. Um,
Hmm. I could have told you that.
yeah, it's still kind of
Garbage
cool. We did the Field
for like 10
Museum,
minutes.
the Field Museum Pokemon exhibit. That was kind of cool. Is even somebody that's not a Pokemon guy. I did get the cards that Michael's talking about. I did buy a couple of the plushies, the Pokemon or the
The Pikachu.
Pikachu excavator stuffy or whatever one. We got a couple other things like because we made sure that he got like something like Pokemon shirt that said Field Museum on it, not just a regular Pokemon
Yeah.
shirt. So
How was the store when you went? Because when I went, the resellers had just beaten us there. There's resellers there every day that just take
Oh.
everything off the shelves.
I feel like when we went there, like I was like, wow, like so they were very specific about how you got the cards. The
Yeah.
one card that they gave you, and then you couldn't go into the store until you went through the exhibit. So you got to pass from the exhibit to go in the store, and I feel like it said
5 items per person.
5 item per
and
person, and only like you can't
the
buy
plushie.
duplicates. Yeah, the only
Yeah.
only thing you could buy duplicates of is you could buy. We had 3 tickets, so we could have bought 3 Pikachu excavators. We only bought 2. They were like $40 a rip.
Yeah, it was kind of crazy.
Yeah, so we bought 2, and we bought a couple things that just. He's a Pokemon fan, but he's not a huge Pokemon fan. His reading level my son's reading level is significantly higher now. So like, there's probably I was gonna talk to you about like what's a good Pokemon game to really start him on the Switch. I don't want any of the phone Pokemon games, but I want to get.
I would say they released the OGs
Okay.
Pokemon, and I feel like that would be in $20 for like Red.
Yeah.
I think that would be like a great start.
Okay, yeah, because like for a long time he would come to us and be like, I don't understand, I can't read this, I don't know what this means, and now he's actually like going into 5th grade and he's competent and understanding of game mechanics and everything like that. So, and then Angela and I had last Tuesday, the 28th of July, we celebrated 25 years of being married. Angela had to have another surgery a little bit right before that. Part of the reason why the podcast is about a week late. She's fine. She's doing as good as she can be doing. Trying to continue to keep doing things that as normal as we can. Everybody's been super supportive and reaching out and everything like that. Most of you guys listening are great. I did meet up with somebody else in Chicago when Michael stiffed me, a friend of mine that used to work that lives in Chicago now, and he lives in Chicago now, and he worked with me at one point in time. So we had lunch together. That was cool. And then we're going to San Francisco next week. So I've been to San Francisco multiple times. I love the city. Angela's coming to San Francisco for her first time. So she's gonna get the BART experience because it's just so much cheaper. So, and I'm not worried about it. The subway in Chicago, not bad, by the way, not a problem.
No, I mean you were downtown.
Yeah,
That's where it's the best.
On and off the red line. That's all we were doing.
Yeah.
Wrigley Field was cool, but we're going to another Tigers game in San Francisco. We're going to Alcatraz. We're doing some whale stuff. So we're definitely trying to make the most we can out of this summer. Like a couple, 3 or 4 days of kid free for Angela and myself. And then we kind of come back, and he goes back to school. She goes back to work teaching. And then that's just kind of where we are. So again, I really appreciate. A lot of you are friends with me on social media. You'll see my wife will put out every couple weeks update. I think Michael's partner pays more attention to it than Michael does.
I honestly don't load social media.
I'm just messing with you mostly to see your reaction because Ansel and Sarah will conversate about once every 4 to 6 weeks.
Yeah, no, and I last time I loaded up Facebook, I can tell Facebook didn't know who I was anymore.
Yeah.
So I was like, oh, I have no reason to load this
I'm just
anymore.
more just busting your chops right now. So yeah, but that's kind of where we are right now. Life is as good as it can be at the moment. I'm really hoping that something comes out that really holds my attention. I played Bond for a little while, haven't gotten any farther in it, haven't had the desire to go back and play it. Nothing wrong with it. It's just not grabbing my attention. And I play
Wolverine.
I play Destiny like 2 hours a week, maybe total. And that's usually because a couple buddies of mine will poke at me like, hey, come do this with us. I'm like, okay, cool. I did it like an hour before we recorded here today. It's just, I was doing inventory at my store. Like that was like 2 weeks of my life. So a bunch of other crap going on. So, but that's it. So, I hope everyone has a great week. We will not be recording next week, and we will record the week after that. So it'll probably be mid-August. And we're getting right around the corner. Like Michael's like laughing serious. Like we're like a month away, like 6 weeks away from Wolverine, right? September 8th or 18th or something. Or
Something like that. Yeah. Got to get my physical copy. Could be the last Insomniac physical game I get.
All right. Hope everyone has a great week. Keep moving forward.
Don't be a dick. See ya.
Hello.
Dave, you got a phone call? Question is, did he end the stream? He did not. The stream's still going. I'll keep everyone entertained. He took his headphones off. What's going on YouTube? I can't read lips now. I don't know if I'd want to read lips. Just waiting for him to end the stream. See if he realizes the stream's still running. Could still be running. It's still running. He hasn't learned to turn it off. I can't share a message with him. He keeps looking at me because he knows I'm talking to someone, maybe even him. But he doesn't know. So just keep talking. Hello.
Yeah, I had to mute myself. My alarm company for my store is calling.
Yeah, you can just end the stream if you got to take care of this, Dave. Yep, something important happened. Stream's still going. He's doing big manager businessman stuff. Look at him. Look at him. He just went in manager mode.